All right, well, hello everybody. There are some familiar faces in the room. Hello. So my name is Natalie Smith. I am a company and financial lawyer from ClientEarth. So for those of you who aren't familiar with ClientEarth, we are an environmental law charity, which means we have environmental lawyers, scientists, policy advisors working together to come up with legal solutions, legal strategies to tackle some of the critical environmental issues that we are plagued with today. So I have that privilege to really talk about some very unique perspective that we have on tackling environmental issues, which is the pensions perspective, if you can believe it. Basically, I've been working for 2 years now to look at trying to push this transition to a low carbon economy from a sort of legal pensions context, and I will be talking through that today. I've been asked to consider, I think, the divestment question from a legal perspective, and I'm going to try and tackle it from an indirect way, so bear with me. I will throw some questions out there to you initially. So, do administering authorities of the LGPS funds have a legal responsibility to consider climate risk or climate change? And if so, why are the majority still failing in the exercise of that legal responsibility? And how does the law play a part in bringing about a change in business as usual investment behavior, if any role at all? So these are some of the questions that we've been exploring at ClientEarth for the past couple of years. In the context of climate change and climate risk, we've been seeking to identify gaps in legal knowledge and legal understanding within the corporate and financial sectors. So pensions very much falls into that work. As for administering authorities and trustees of pension funds more generally, the law is actually very, very straightforward. There's nothing all that complex about it. So effectively it says that if it's a financially relevant consideration for pension funds, then it must be considered as part of the investment decision-making process. And climate change is no different. Climate change is really no different because the conduct of administering authorities and trustees more generally is assessed by reference to both subjective and objective standards. So it's not just about what trustees and administering authorities knew at the time of making the decisions, it's also what they ought to have known at that time. So given the information that exists, we've heard about carbon trackers work, Marconi's work, there is an incredible amount of information out there addressing climate risk from a financial perspective. So really there is no excuse for administering authorities and trustees to be ignoring those bits of information out there. It exists in abundance. So it is about the subjective knowledge of administering authorities, but also the objective knowledge. So what exists out there in the financial sector for trustees to take account of and to really explore as a financial concern. Given that administering authorities and trustees are ultimately responsible for considering, the best interest of their savers, we think that climate change consideration actually forms a very important part of their decision-making process. I'm going to take my glasses off because I'm very conscious of the fact that they keep falling down my face. So, climate change has been referenced in sort of a very big way, as in it has been used as an example of sparking the next financial crisis. So to me, not just as a lawyer, especially not as a lawyer, but just as a person, it's quite absurd to me that climate change hasn't really fallen on the radar of the majority of administrative authorities and trustees out there. So I just wanted to put a personal touch on that. We are seeing a lot less of the view that climate change is an ethical concern. We are seeing less and less of that, but it does still exist, but certainly a lot less. But despite that, we're still seeing a lot of misconceptions around the financial relevance of climate change, and as well the legal responsibilities of administering authorities. That's still very much a prevalent issue. And for example, administering authorities and trustees, of course, often take the view that they've discharged their legal responsibilities by fully delegating the responsibility of ESG and stewardship to their fund managers. We say that actually that overlooks the very important issue that administering authorities and trustees still retain a strategic and oversight responsibility. And those of you in the room will know that looking at climate change purely from a stock selection level or purely from a stewardship perspective doesn't get you to the point of looking at it from a strategic and oversight perspective. So that is something that I want to throw out there for discussion. So strategic and oversight responsibility rests with the administering authorities. It cannot be delegated to fund managers. It requires strategic consideration and oversight by administering authorities and trustees because ultimately it is they who are responsible to pension fund members. And again, so there is that emphasis on who responsibility lies with. It lies with the administering authorities. So, what can the law achieve? It can achieve a few things, we say. And I say, because I am a lawyer, I want to throw that out there. For one, it can achieve clarity as to legal responsibilities. We hear a lot of, I don't understand what fiduciary responsibility is. I don't understand what that means. I don't know how it needs to be applied. So the law can achieve clarity in the law. And as I said, it doesn't require that much thinking because the law is straightforward. The simple fact of the matter is, if it's financially relevant to the fund's performance, it must be considered, and there is plenty of information out there that says climate change falls squarely within that. That's not to say that administering authorities and trustees must always act on it. It is a process rather than an outcome requirement. So as long as it falls within the investment decision-making process, we say that administering authorities have met their legal responsibilities. What comes out of it, whether it's a divestment decision or otherwise, it is ultimately the trustees, administering authorities' discretion. We can't take that away from them. So as long as it falls within the investment decision-making process, we say that that is legally satisfied. Second, what can the law achieve? Well, it can improve administering authority and trustee accountability. Pension fund members have been bringing climate risk to the attention of administering authorities in growing numbers now. Share Action and ClientEarth are partly responsible for that in the letter writing and email and correspondence that was mentioned briefly earlier. And if it's brought to the attention of administering authorities and trustees, and it's not a radical issue, which we say climate risk clearly is not, it's very mainstream now, then trustees and administrative authorities must turn their minds to it because it's a financial concern. It's ultimately administrative authorities, as I said, who are answerable to members. It's they who are responsible for acting in their best interest and who may ultimately be held accountable if imprudent and unreasonable decisions are made. So reminding authorities of this is important to ensure that there is a clear line of accountability, we say. And third, and linked very much to the second, is actually holding administrative authorities to account. Kind of a scary concept, but there you have it. There are legal mechanisms in place, such as filing complaints with the pensions regulator, with the pensions ombudsman, and if financial loss to members actually materialize, then commencing proceedings in court. That those are some options that are available. We are already seeing examples of that in the US, where pension fund members are bringing claims against trustees of the pension funds for loss experience on the basis of climate and climate-related arguments. So it's not such a far-fetched idea. This is not something that exists in the long term. It's happening now. It's very, very real. And we may start to see similar initiatives elsewhere. So do administrative authorities, getting back to my initial question that I posed, do they have legal responsibilities to take climate risk into consideration? We say at ClientEarth, absolutely yes, because it's a financial concern in the best interests of pension fund members. and climate risk obviously is an important consideration given the systemic, given the physical, given the transition risks that that all fall into that debate. It was also a conclusion, similar conclusion was drawn by a leading pensions QC who considered the question of legal responsibilities at the trustee level. So we hold a similar view to him. And can the law be put to use as something that can change investment or sort of business as usual investment behavior? We also think yes, and this is something that we're working very hard to achieve at ClientEarth. I'm very happy to talk more about some of our initiatives, but I can leave that to the Q&A or during the break, so I'll leave it to that to conclude. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Natalie. So if you do have questions, what we'll do is we'll do all of the presentations first, keep them in mind, and we'll take them afterwards.